What's going on, everybody? Dylan here with Espresso Outlet. Today we are looking at the Mazzer Major V Electronic. Uh, if you don't know me, I actually own a small mobile coffee business named Brewhead Espresso, and for the longest time since Brewhead's been open about a year and a half, I've been using the Atom 75 from Eureka. Now, if you know grinders, you know that the Eureka is a very good grinder. I have really enjoyed it, and I still enjoy the Eureka on the pop up cart. Now, it does go with its limitations. So, I was at an event not too long ago, and during that event, because there is no internal fans on the Atom 75, it actually gunked up and it got too hot to where it stopped grinding. So in the middle of the pop-up event, I had to stop the grinder. I had to take the burrs out, and the burrs were super hot. So the best way to overcome this is to get a grinder. It doesn't have to be this one. It could be any grinder, but it has to be a grinder that has some kind of internal fans to really keep that consistency going and to keep it from doing what the Atom 75 did, which was gunk up, got too hot, overheated, and stopped working. So that is the biggest thing that you want as a mobile coffee business, or even if you have a brick and mortar coffee business, to ensure that that does not happen to you. Because what happens is it stops working, and you have to either have a backup or you stop for the day until your grinder decides to work. So today we are looking at the Mazzer Major V. And to say that I put it through its paces is an understatement. This thing is a complete workhorse. Shout out to Joe for sending me this to use. So this was sent to me about 2 weeks ago, and I've really gotten used to using it. Now, it was a bit of an adjustment from the Atom 75 to the Mazzer Major V. However, I'll tell you some of the things that I have learned to do with the actual grinder to make the workflow a little bit better. So first, we're going to talk about price. So the Atom 75 that I currently use is about $1,400, $1,500, I believe. And this one's coming in at $2,320. You can find it on Espresso Outlet. I'll link it down in the comment section down below. This grinder is great. So it is a very heavy grinder. I believe it's around 44 or 45 pounds. So make sure if you do decide to purchase one, that you do have someone else help you lift it, or if you're strong enough, just be careful you don't scratch the outer encasement. It is black, and it probably would scratch easy, even though it is made out of super durable equipment. I mean, this thing is completely solid, really nicely built, and for the price, you just can't beat it. It's got internal fans, so you're never going to have that issue. Once you start grinding, I think like one or two, I think it's like the second shot you start grinding back to back, the internal fans kick on to where it doesn't have that issue that the Atom 75 had with overheating. Now, I keep referring to the Atom 75 because that's the only grinder I've used for my cafe, my pop-up company, and I'm just saying the difference between kind of the two. It's not comparing the two. It's just showing my experiences with the one and then with this one. So with the Atom 75, the most people I served in a day was about 90, maybe give or take. And it did good, except for the days that it was super hot outside and it overheated. This one, I did a 3-day event and I served 1,004 people. It's a lot of people in 3 days. So did I experience any issues with it? Not at all. I mean, this thing was consistent. Once you locked that in the morning and you got the grind size perfect, you adjusted it to where you needed to be for me, I did a 1-to-2 ratio, so 18 grams in, about 36 grams out, and it came in about 4 seconds each time. I believe it was like 4.40 seconds, which is incredibly fast. My Atom 75 can do, I think, 20 grams in 3 seconds. But to have the workhorse like this, an extra second is not going to affect really anything when it comes to workflow. So this is the Mazzer Major V Electronic. So what that means is on the top here, and I'll show you guys everything on the top. I'll go through the screen and how to use it. But on the top, there's 3 different presets, which is really nice. So let's say you have a single, double, and a triple shot You can actually have it all timed out and dosed out to the exact amount that you need for that ratio that you're desiring. So for me, I used one of them, which was 4.40. So I did all of my shots were double shots. So again, 18 in, 36 out. And I ran mine about 31 seconds just based on the coffee. I think 31 seconds really gave that more chocolatey, nutty, honey notes that I was looking for out of the coffee. But it grinds super fast, super fluffy. I mean, the grinds are very, very nice. This unit actually comes with, this is the upgraded Mazzer. So it actually comes with the portafilter forks here. So it does a nice job at being able to adjust it. There's different adjustments. So this is the smaller ones that it comes with. And I have the larger ones in now because the way that I decided to do my workflow, it was just easier to have the longer ones because I allowed it to kind of set down a little bit so that way it wasn't overflowing when I were to grind the coffee in there. Another cool thing about this grinder is, let's say you have it set just to make it easy at 4 seconds and you want to have it to where you want to stop the grind. It's like a stop working pause. So what that means is if you have 4 seconds and you want to do 75% of that, you can actually make it do any percent of the first dose. So once you press this button, if you have it set for 75%, it would do 75% of 4, and then which is 3, and then as soon as it gets done, it gives you time to kind of adjust it into the portafilter, kind of set it down so the mound's not building completely high, and then it'll actually allow you to just press a button again and it'll dose out that remaining gram or that remaining second that you have it set for. So that's been a super nice function. I actually have it set for 75% of the dose for the first hit and then the second one to finish it off. And that worked absolutely amazing. I don't recommend actually doing the full 100% of the time, only because it does make a big mess, because if you just set it in there and it builds that mound up, what happens is when you pull that out, it'll hit the top part of this, which is actually the funnel for the coffee to fall into to go straight into your portafilter, and you're going to be left with a mess, not only a mess on your countertop, but it's also going to impact the amount of grams that you actually have set for on the top that you're dosed in, that you're dialed in. So another cool thing about this grinder is it does come with this huge tray. So this tray is super nice. It actually just comes apart. So this is what the tray looks like. So the tray is really nice, and what it does is it sits right in and it kind of locks in from the rubber feet at the bottom. I always put a towel underneath of it, just so I can just take it and just kind of shake it off in the garbage and then go back in, and it helps prevent from scratching that tray. I just like to protect any equipment that I have. You spend good money on the equipment, so you might as well protect it and make it look good for as long as possible. So really nice, easy on-off switch. So it just turns it on, turns it off. The button or the knob feels super durable. It doesn't feel like it's going to wear out at all. I mean, this thing's probably going to last longer than I will, which is saying something. Now, I can say that, I mean, I have one hand, so I actually fractured my wrist, and I had a cast on during my event, actually. So adjusting this is nice. It does have a pin on the side here, which I'll show you a close-up once this video comes to an end. But you can actually adjust that little screw, and what that screw does is it really locks into place here, so no one can accidentally bump this. So once you have it set for the day, you lock that pin and you can no longer move that adjustment dial, which is super nice in case you're in a busy cafe or you're working super fast and you have other things next to the grinder. No one can bump that to actually change that grind size while you're working, unless you yourself or somebody undoes that knob or that screw, and then you can actually adjust it. And that brings me to another point. Adjusting this grinder is very difficult with one hand. Like I said, I only have one hand. I couldn't use it. Now I have my friend who helped me adjust the dial, which was super easy to adjust with two hands. But just know that if you are trying to adjust and doing something else on the side, it is a little tough to adjust this with one hand. But that is a good thing, just because you don't want it to be so sensitive to where you bump it and it changes the adjustment grind if you forget to screw down that screw. So far we've looked at the portafilter forks, the nice tray that it has for catching the grinds to keep your workspace super nice and clean. The durability of the unit, I believe it's coming in about 45 pounds. Super durable. Everything feels very premium. Really bright LCD screen that you can adjust the brightness. I just leave mine all the way up. It's plugged into the wall anyway, so it's not like it's running out of battery. It does have a hopper that can hold 3.5 pounds of coffee. So when I served the 1,004 people in 3 days, I think I filled the hopper in the middle. I filled the hopper, I think, 3 times, 3 or 4 times. So it's not like it was too bad with my Atom 75. I would have been filling that grind hopper a lot more. And if you do have a pop-up coffee business or even a brick and mortar building, you know how important every little second is, especially when getting that final cup to the customer upon when they order. So that's a very, very important thing. It does kind of have like an anti-popcorn pretty much built into the machine. You don't have to really worry about that because all the coffee that sits in the hopper just acts as an anti-popcorn anyways. It's got a really nice lid that goes on top, super easy to remove. And it's also got arrows here to help you align it to where you can put it on super easy, super fast. Kind of takes all the frustration out. Now, the grinder actually, you can take this hopper off, but when you take the hopper off, so there's a tab in the back, and when the hopper goes into the actual grinder, it then allows the grinder to be able to be in use. If the hopper is off, it will actually has a mechanism inside that the tab goes in, and it'll actually deactivate the grinder to where you cannot accidentally turn the grinder on and accidentally put your fingers into the burrs. Which brings me into another good point about this grinder is it's super easy to take apart and clean. And when you take that top burr off, it actually saves where your last dial adjustment was. So you can take it off, clean it, and rest assured you put that right back on, screw it. It's good to go exactly the way you had it prior. It does not change the grind size at all. So that is a really, really nice feature of this grinder. If you've had a home grinder or another grinder before, you know that people sometimes just don't really look forward to cleaning their grinders because it does move that adjustment and that 0 point. This grinder, it does not. So you're very secure with this, and you can take it apart, clean it with no hassle. So one thing I do want to note is this comes apart really easily, so it just turns so you can get a nice clean job in here, blow it out. And it also has a declumper. So it comes back in, closes, and you'll hear a click. I don't know if you can hear that. It does come with a couple things that I like. So this is actually a little pin. As you see, it's also right there. So what this does is, let's say you have a portafilter that is shorter or it doesn't go in as deep. You can actually change this out to where the button is closer to the forks, so you don't have to really jam it in there. So it just allows for more control and user-friendly design with your portafilter. So that's super nice. It also comes with a grind flow control, so it's super nice, super easy to install. You just undo this, and inside there you just pop it out, pop this new one in, and you're good to go. It comes with a cleaning brush. I wouldn't recommend using this. It's just super hard bristle, and really anything you use with this, it's going to maybe scratch the equipment, and you don't want to scratch the equipment. I prefer just getting some kind of like paintbrush, something with like soft bristles. I think that's just going to be the best option. That's everything that I've used. I just want to keep everything as nice as possible, and it's actually easier because the soft bristles are more flexible. So that's all pretty much I have for this grinder. I served, like I said, 1,004 people in 3 days, and it was an absolute workhorse. It never skipped a beat. I adjusted the grinds maybe twice, So when I first got there, I obviously had to adjust to dial in the grind size, and then I dialed in on the third day. But that's to be considered, all facts aside, because when you have this hopper, I didn't empty the hopper when I left. I kept the beans in the hopper, so temperature change, humidity, everything came into play, especially with the beans being so fresh. I think it was a week off roast. And then obviously within the first 2 weeks, the beans are off gassing so much to where you're going to have to adjust. And I did have to adjust a little bit finer, but it was very micro adjustments that were able to get that dial in exactly where I wanted it to be. So overall, really good grinder. I'm super impressed with it. I would recommend this for any pop-up business, any mobile business, or any brick and mortar. I think that you really can't go wrong with this grinder, especially at the price point. It is a little bit more expensive, but like I said, I've been using an Atom 75 for the last year and a half, and I know that it would not have done an event that size that I just did. So for the upgraded price of an extra $1,000, which seems like a lot, you're really just investing into your business, and just making your workflow that much better. I mean, so many coffee shops have the Mazzer Major V, or just the Mazzer in general, and they're just completely a workhorse. So if you want a grinder that's going to be built to last, durable, give you the best quality possible, don't look any further. This thing is absolutely amazing. I wouldn't steer you wrong. But now I am going to take the camera down, and kind of show you some of these cool features that I was just talking about, so that way you understand exactly what I was mentioning earlier in the video. So here you have the 1, 2, and 3 cup presets, and then you also have this little hand like that. Well, that is manual dosing, so if you don't want to use one of these and you want to get like an extra gram in your portafilter, you can actually just press this and it'll just release. So as long as you hold this, it'll start grinding. When you release it, it stops. So you can have your 3 presets for, like I said, maybe like a single, double, and a triple shot, or whatever you want. This does a great job at doing that. It has a shot counter on top, so I did split all of my shots, and then some people ordered matchas and stuff like that. So here you can go to your menu button, like the little hamburger, so you press that and it brings you into different settings. So you have your grind setting, your information, your service, and that's all. So let's go to grind setting. So you have dosing time, grinding pause, and working mode. So the grinding pause is kind of what I was explaining earlier in the video, to where you can choose, once you press the button, do you want it to do 75% of that grind time, or do you want it to do 60%, or whatever you so choose, you can dial in there. Dosing time, you can just click that. So to click that, you actually just keep pressing the hamburger button, and that's what selects everything. So let's just go to the one I use, which is the 3 dose time. I use number 4. So I had it set to 4.20 seconds is the time dose that it has. So let's go back and look at the grinding pause. So if I go to grinding pause for the one that I used, you can see that it's on time dose, it's active, and I was actually using 75% of that 4. Let me go back and see that 4.20 grind time. So if we come back here, we can go to settings. You have languages, date, clock, display, and all of that is shown here in the front screen. So you see the date is 9/6 of 2023 at 10:01 a.m., which is just nice to see. And you can also actually, there's an app that you can go to. It's the Mazzer app. And the really cool thing is you can actually hook this up to your phone. So if you're a cafe owner, you can hook this up to your phone and see exactly how many shots were grinded or dosed out on this date, and you can see the times. It's really cool. It's a really cool feature that Mazzer allows you to see. So if you have multiple locations, you can go on your phone and see how each location is doing for each grinder, so you can kind of get an idea of how busy you were that day. So that's kind of cool. Here there's also information. If you click on information, you can do dose counter, daily stats, alerts. So you can set all that up. It'll also tell you there's a service button. You create your own password here, and it tells you any service that's required or needed on the unit, which is nice that it just allows you to see that information. So that's pretty much all of the display, and like I said, you can twist this, and here you can actually see where the declumper is in there. So what you do is there's two screws here and here that you remove this little mesh metal screen, and then you can actually get to the declumper, pull that out, replace it with a new one, pop it in, and screw it in. Just super easy, super durable. And then you'll hear that clicking sound. Let me see if I can get it right there, and you know that it's back and working again. If you see here, there is a little tiny arrow that actually shows the grinder adjustment on the dial here, so you can see exactly where you're at on grind size to allow you to adjust pretty easily. So coming over here is the screw that I was talking about, so you can actually unscrew this like that, and now you're able to adjust the grind size, and then once you find it, you can actually just screw it back down, and then that locks us into place. So now this is no longer able to move, and you can't bump that grind size or adjustment at all, to make it just nice and easy. Here's the arrows that you match up, bottom one, top one, and then they align super easy. Like I said, that holds 3.5 pounds of coffee. And over here you have your little plastic piece that allows the coffee to fall into the actual burrs. If you want to remove this hopper, just slide that in. It'll hold all the beans inside the hopper, take it out, and then pull that plastic piece, and it'll all go into the bag or container that you have it set for, which is super nice. Here are the portafilter forks that I was talking about. Like I said, it does a great job at keeping everything in there. This isn't what I use, but I can put it in there. As you can see, you'd want to adjust these little knobs to fit right inside, like as hooks for the basket, and that will keep it to where it's completely secure, to where when it's grinding, if there's any vibrations or knocks on your workplace, that it actually keeps that in place, which is nice. I don't like to keep it like this where it's up. I like to keep it down like this, so that way all the grinds fall towards the front. I find that's the easiest. So what I would do is I'd hit the button, I'd let it grind 75% of my 4.20 gram dose, and then I'll just go like this, and then it'll settle the grounds in the basket, and then I'll push the button and it'll do the next, and then I'll just shake it a little bit more, take it out, you're good to go. Super easy, really no time at all when it comes to really making sure that you have the grounds settled into that basket. Here's a better look at the tray. So like I said, I keep a cloth here to keep anything from scratching the tray. You're going to want to make sure to clean that as well. But it just comes apart like so. It has these cutouts here to where it fits on the rubber feet, and it just secures it and locks it in like that. So where you can't pull it out unless you really try to pull it out, then it'll come out, and then you're good to go. Throw that rag on there to prevent anything from scratching, and easier cleaning. You can just kind of shake it out and then put it back in, so there's no grinds on the table. So there you have it. You see all the cool features about the Mazzer Major V Electronic. The cool things that I was talking about, like the grind work pause, and the portafilter forks, the durability, the 3.5 pound coffee holder hopper. There's just so many great things to love about this machine. I've had a great time using it, and might even want it in my own pop-up coffee business. My name's Dylan with Espresso Outlet. If you guys are interested in getting one of yours today for your cafe, make sure to check the description below, as I will have it linked to the Espresso Outlet. And if you have any questions, please comment down below. Also, I want to hear from you. What grinder are you currently using for your mobile or brick and mortar business? And have you enjoyed using it? Are you looking to upgrade? And if so, what grinder were you looking at upgrading to? And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.